Good evening and welcome to Yiddish Resistance Songs with Isabel Frey, music to fight fascism and demand democracy. I'm Noelle D'Amico, Director of Social Justice at the Workers' Circle, a national, secular, Jewish social justice organization founded by Eastern European immigrants who came to the US fleeing autocracy and persecution and seeking democratic freedoms at the turn of the 20th century. And that history, it drives our work for an inclusive democracy and fundamental human equality today.
And I'm Maya Strong, college organizer with the Workers' Circle. We're glad you're all here. The Workers' Circle College Network is a national network of college students connected for social justice and inspired by Yiddish culture. In the face of the current attacks on our democracy, now more than ever, students understand the need to come together to fight for justice. And Yiddish culture provides a wellspring of resources, including stirring songs to power us onward. Tonight, the Workers' Circle College Network is thrilled to be hosting Yiddish Resistance Songs with Isabel Frey, and thank our co-sponsors, Lilith Magazine, New Voices Magazine, and the Yiddish Book Center. Isabel is a Yiddish singer and PhD candidate in ethnomusicology at the University of Music and Performing Arts in Vienna. As a performer, she specializes in Yiddish revolutionary songs and continuing the tradition of Jewish social justice activism, both on stages and at political protests. She regularly performs Yiddish music either as a soloist in the duo Soveles and with the Isabel Frey Trio. She has performed at various international festivals and venues, such as the KlezMORE Festival Bratislava, the Singera Festival in Warsaw, and the Willy Brandt Center in Jerusalem. In September 2020, she released her debut album, Millenial Bundist, with Yiddish revolutionary and resistance songs. And in November 2022, her debut album with the Yiddish feminist song duo Soveles. Isabel Frey is currently conducting research at Harvard University. Please, everyone, join me in welcoming Isabel Frey.
So, hello everyone. I hope everyone can hear me and see me. I'm very pleased to be here today. I'm pleased to be doing this while I'm in the U.S. I'm usually based in Vienna. Just as a brief intro, that's kind of also I started singing Yiddish songs kind of on my own, just discovering them through YouTube, but not really knowing about this whole kind of global community of Yiddishists and Yiddish musicians and singers. And the discovery of that has been incredible in the past years, and has also been partly what has led me here to spend some time in the United States. And the Workers' Circle is very much part of that. So I just wanted to mention that it's part of the kind of daily inspiration and the community that continues to nurture me. So I want to start with a song that is maybe good to start off a small short set of Yiddish resistance songs. It's a mashup between two songs. One of them is a very well-known Yiddish protest song written by David Edelstadt, who was a Yiddish-speaking anarchist. Well, actually, he was Russian-speaking primarily, but he learned Yiddish as an adult, like a lot of people do today in Yiddishist circles, which is why I find it very interesting to sing songs from him. In order to mobilize the proletariat at the time in the United States was the Jewish proletariat that was speaking mostly Yiddish. He migrated from the Russian Empire in the late 19th century and wrote a lot of kind of folk poetry and wrote in the Neue Arbeiterstimme and wrote a lot of different texts and this is one of them. It's called In Kampf. It's one of his big songs of struggle and of fighting. And before that, I mashed that up with another song that is kind of a orally transmitted song that is from the repertoire of Feigl Sultan, who was a wonderful singer. Her recordings can be heard at the Ruth Rubin Archive, at the YIVO Institute, online also in the exhibit. And she was from Lithuania and was also part of Revolutionary Youth and knew a lot of songs from that. And it's called Was schlaft ihr Schläfer? So it's a bit of like a wake-up song. It's called What Do You Sleep, You Sleepers? You know, it's enough already to keep our windows closed. Let's wake up, and let's wake up to the fact that all people should be equal. And then we go to In Kampf from David Edelstadt. We're being persecuted, and only because we fight for equality. So I think that fits very much within the motto of today's concert. Was schlaft ihr Schläfer? Steht auf. Was schlaft ihr Schläfer so lang? Geht nur a Kuckuck zum Himmel arauf.
What?
Wie schön ist die Sonne noch ihr Aufgang. Genug schon zu halten, die Laden vermacht. Was schlaft ihr Schläfer in der finsteren Nacht? Genug schon zu schlafen, ihr Schwester und Brüder. Steht auf der Mond, der Teich. Stiller, stiller, ohne Gerede. Alle sollen sein gleich. Wir werden gehasst und getrieben, wir werden gejagt und verfolgt, und als nur der Farbe wir lieben, das arme schmachtende Volk. Und als nur der Farbe wir lieben, das arme schmachtende Volk. Wir werden erschossen, gehangen, man räubt uns das Leben und Recht. Der Fahrer, weil wir MS verlangen, und Freiheit verarme Knecht. Der Fahrer, weil wir MS verlangen, und Freiheit verarme Knecht. Aber uns wird nicht der Schrecken, Gefängnis und Tyrannei. Wir müssen die Menschheit erwecken und machen sie glücklich und frei. Wir müssen die Menschheit erwecken und machen sie glücklich und frei. Schmied uns in eiserne Ketten, wie blutige Chais uns reißt. Ihr kennt unser Körper nur Täten, nur keinmal unser heiligen Geist. Ihr kennt unser Körper nur Täten, nur keinmal unser heiligen Geist. Ihr kennt uns der Morden Tyrannen, neue Kämpfer wird bringen die Zeit. Und wir kämpfen bis wann die ganze Welt wird werden befreit. Und wir kämpfen bis wann die ganze Welt wird werden befreit. gotta get used again to this online concert setting. There's no applause. I cannot see you, but it's actually still a great it's a great pleasure to be singing here with you. It's just it reminds me of the pandemic times when like the deep lockdown times when this was the only concert possible. Oh yeah, I see some of your hearts in the chat. That's very nice. Maybe I can put the chat up so that I can see that. That's probably better. Thank you. That'll keep me motivated. Thank you very much. Yes. So this, I mean, David Edelstadt. Yeah, it's very much the kind of song written to mobilize people. I think the same thing with Was schlaft ihre Schläfer. These are like protest songs that are meant to mobilize people, that are meant to get them on the street. So I hope you could feel some of that. I want to move now a bit to different kind of protest song, more songs that are just worker songs written from the perspective of workers and their daily struggles, and they're not necessarily written to mobilize people, but for me they do that anyway, because they speak about terrible working situations, and even if they're from, I don't know, like 100 years ago, they're a reminder of kind of continuous terrible working situations. So this is a song, it's called Ederich leg sich schlafen or Ederich leg mich schlafen. It both is works, and it means before I lie down to sleep, I wake up. I already have to wake up and go to work with my ill bones, my broken bones, basically, and I have to I come late to work, and because the way is long, but then they already take off half of my day pay, and she's a seamstress, and then so every time she goes back to a kind of refrain that is a kind of prayer, and she prays to God or cries out to God, why was I born to be a seamstress? And for me, I think it's just a reminder of the fact that people get born into the situations, into very unfortunate positions, and lacking a lot of privilege, and get born into class oppression. So I think a lot about that song in that way. The needles are breaking and pinching my fingers, and the blood is going from them. And if I am hungry and if I ask for more money, they send me away. So that's a quick translation. But I saw someone posted the Yiddish song Lotte collection. That's a good resource. That's a very good resource if you don't know a song and you want to find out more about it. Check it out for sure. Ederich leg mich schlafen. It's also on the Ruth Rubin archive. There's a beautiful version of it. I actually learned it from a kind of a German language songbook, so I kind of chose my own arrangement of it before I had heard the beautiful recordings of Ruth Rubin. But Ederich leg mich schlafen, darf ich schon aufstehen, mit meine kranke Beine zu der Arbeit gehen. Zu Gott will ich weinen, mit a groß Gewein, zu was ich bin geboren, a Nähterin zu sein. Komm spät zu der Arbeit, sie ist doch weiter weg. Schlagt man mir auf, fahr a halbe Tag. Zu Gott will ich weinen, mit a groß Gewein. Zu was ich bin geboren, a Nähterin zu sein. Die Nadeln werden zerbrochen, 15 Minuten. Die Finger werden zerstochen, es riecht vom See das Blut. Zu Gott will ich weinen, mit a groß Gewein. Zu was ich bin geboren, a Nähterin zu sein. Ich leid ständig Hunger, ich hab nicht was zu essen. Will ich Geld beten, heißt mit mir vergessen. Zu Gott will ich weinen, mit a Kreuz geweint. Zu was ich bin geboren, a Nähterin zu sein. Zu was ich bin geboren, a Nähterin zu sein. All right. So, yeah, no, I'll continue with that. So, I've also, I think one of the things that inspires me a lot about protest songs and worker songs and revolutionary songs from specifically kind of the late 19th and early 20th century is that it was a time in which there was a lot happening in terms of social movements and different resistance movements and organizing all over the world. There were revolutionary movements, and people were attracted to them because they were thinking, okay, we want to get out of this situation and we can imagine a different world and a better world. And I think this is an ability that is increasingly under attack today, and it's something that one says about our contemporary 21st century, what is sometimes called late capitalism, that it's easier to imagine the end of the world than the end of capitalism or an alternative to our system. And yeah, I think that's why these songs are a very good exercise in trying to imagine such a better world, even if it sometimes sounds naive. And so this next song is a song, actually it's a poem that I set to music. It's a poem called In Vernacht. It's written by David Krivitsky, who was a poet but also a revolutionary organizer, and also happens to be the I always get this wrong, I think great uncle or something like that, or I don't know how many greats of my friend Gabe Zuckerberg, who's also a Yiddishist and cellist and a scholar. And during the pandemic, at some point, he contacted me and was like, oh, look, check out this poetry from my relative. Can you help me translate? And it was very beautiful. And yeah, I found this poem that I found very beautiful and decided to set it. And I think it's, it's a lot of imagery about kind of agricultural, like grain production and like the mill, and how that compared to desires and imagining kind of these desires for a better world. So what I do usually with this song is I purposefully don't necessarily translate it. If you understand Yiddish, then great, then enjoy the beautiful poetry. If you don't, just let the sound of the words kind of flow over you. And I invite everyone to, if you want, you can close your eyes, lean back and try to imagine what this new free world could look like. So it's a utopian waltz. Es mollen die Ohren, die Tag und die Wochen, wie Räder von Mehlen, dem Korn von Sang, und schmeichelt das Leben, a Held von dem Nitzochen, was hat die Besiegte gekleben in Fang, und schmeichelt das Leben, a Held von dem Nitzochen, was hat die Besiegte gekleben in Fang. Nur es haben die Tage und die Wochen wie Sangen, gebliet ich amol wie in Frühling das Feld, wenn's haben gebreist und gesturmt verlangen, wenn's hat sich gefuhren, der freiere Welt, wenn's haben gebreist und gesturmt verlangen, wenn's hat sich gefuhren, der freiere Welt. Sie haben gebliebt vor der Welt und vor deres in Licht von dem Morgen, in Tee von Beginn, da was kennst du werden noch mehr, wie die Peires, was du hast getragen, von eigenem Min, da was kennst du werden noch mehr, wie die Peires, was du hast getragen, von eigenem Min. Verstillt ist die Regung, es stummen Verlangen, das Herz ist beruhigt und weich der Gemüt. Und setzt heint im goldenen Blieb und die Sangen. Und setzt heint die Schönheit und Reifkeit von Schnee. Die Schönheit von Blieb und die Reifkeit von Jahren, a sie ist gewähnt und a sie wird es sein, wie's mal die Rede von mir, dem Korn, war morgen, war später, in der es rein, wie's mal die Rede von mir, dem Korn, war morgen, war später, in der es rein. Great. Someone wrote, I felt the freedom. That's great. That's what it's all about. So, I want to continue with, I think one of my favorite songs. I'm quickly just going to blow my nose. One of my favorite Yiddish revolutionary songs. For those who saw, I wrote like a little text, a little list for Lilith magazine with my top 3 revolutionary songs. So this is on there, number 1. And it's Mordechai Gebirtig's Arbeitloser Marsch. So it's the March of the Unemployed by Mordechai Gebirtig. And it's, I think, but my favorite also because it's the first song that I ever heard, really, and the first song that I really learned. And it's the March of the Unemployed. They don't let themselves be brought down by class inequality and oppression and exploitation, but they march through the streets dreaming of a better world. And for those who don't know it, I mean, Daniel Kahn has this legendary version with the painted birds, with a great video also, and a great English translation. And I was inspired also as well to kind of make a German translation that is also a bit kind of like an adaptation, like a tradaptation is how he calls it. So I think I'll sing a verse of his in English and a verse of mine in German, also to just have some language mix up and then go back to the Yiddish. 1, 2, 3, 4, Arbeitslose sehnen mir, nicht gehört Chadushim lang, in Fabrik den Hammerklang, es liegen Keil in kalt vergessen, nimm der Jaber Seischel fressen, gehen wir arum in Gas, wie dig wir im Pust und Pass, wie dig wir im Pust und Pass. 1, 2, 3, 4, Arbeitslose sehnen mir, ohne Beget, ohne Heim, unser Bett ist sehr und leim, hat noch wer was zu genießen, teilt man sich mit jedem Bissen, Wasser wie die Gewirr im Wein, gießen wir in sich herein, gießen wir in sich herein. 1, 2, 3, 4, Arbeitslose sehnen mir, jahrelange Arbeit schwer, ungeschafft als mehr und mehr, Häuser, Schlösser, Städte und Länder, fahr a Hefele Verschwender, inser Leun, der fahr is wuss, hinger neut und arbeitlos, hinger neut und arbeitlos. 1, 2, 3, 4, join the marching jobless corps, no work in the factories, no more manufacturing, All the tools are broken, rusted, every wheel and window rusted. Through the city streets we go, idle as a CEO, idle as a CEO. 1, 2, 3, 4, join the marching jobless corps. No work in the factory, no more manufacturing. Houses, cars, and other shit for the rich's benefit. What do workers get for pay? Hungry, broke, and thrown away. Hungry, broke, and thrown away. German, 1, 2, 3, 4, Arbeitslose, das sind wir. Schon seit Wochen kein Gehalt, der Kühlschrank leer, die Wohnung kalt und wir kriegen keine Posten, während die Maschinen rosten. Drum stolzieren wir durch die Stadt, als wären wir im Aufsichtsrat, als wären wir im Aufsichtsrat. 1, 2, 3, 4, Arm in Arm marschieren wir, während die Arbeitslosenquote steigt, der Sozialstaat sich dem Ende neigt. Träumen wir von einer Welt ohne Lohnarbeit und ohne Geld, ohne Grenzen, ohne Bundesheer und keine Arbeitslosen mehr, keine Arbeitslosen mehr. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, Arbeitslose marschieren wir, Arbeitslose Tritt noch Tritt und wir singen sich ein Lied von einem Land, a Welt a neue, wo es leben Menschen freie, arbeitslos ist kein Schumhand in dem neuen freien Land, in dem neuen freien Land. So, someone asked to make it louder. I don't know. It's a general. I can make it a bit louder. Let's see if that's better. Maybe a tiny bit, yeah. And just write again if there's a problem. Yeah, okay, let's continue with a song. So this is also on the list of Lilith magazine. This next song is a theater song that I found on a recording of a CD compilation of historical recordings of women in Yiddish theater. And it was a recording by a singer and actress named Clara Gold, and she sang the song called Alle Weiber mögen stimmen, All Women Can Vote. And I heard it and I was like, wow, this is a great tune, and this is a song about like women's voting, and that's great. I don't have to sing just about revolution and class struggle. I can also sing about women's rights. And then I found out, or I searched for more versions, and I found out that this song was actually written sarcastically by someone named Ruben Doctor, who was kind of also kind of a Yiddish cabaret performer and songwriter, and he wrote mostly kind of sexist performances of making fun of wives, and a lot of his songs make fun of wives. So from 1920, which was the year that the U.S. got, where women in the U.S. got a right to vote, or white women got the right to vote, and that was kind of introduced by the sexist joke, and so it was terrible. So I was like, oh no, what do I do with this song? But then I realized that the recording that I'd heard before that, the singer Clara Gold, that she had done something that we would today call feminist reappropriation. So she changed some words. She changed, for example, mögen stimmen, so can vote, to müssen stimmen. So she made it slightly more kind of fighting, more demanding. And I think just also in her vocal style, she didn't really sing it sarcastic. I can't imagine, a woman in 1921, a year afterwards, kind of singing it sarcastically. So I reconstructed what I could from the text, and what I couldn't reconstruct, I kind of filled in the way that I thought what the meaning was, and then wrote an English verse also that kind of reflects on how we view this achievement of women's right to vote today, kind of from a contemporary feminist perspective. And yeah, that's basically it. I mean, the song good to know kind of the chorus. Alle Weiber mögen stimmen bei jeder election, was wird kommen. It's kind of in Yiddish, so it's a Yiddish-English mix. And a congressman, a president, liegt bei Weiber in die Hand. So yeah, it's a congressman, a president, it's all in women's hands. Women don't sell their vote for cash, for Mesimen. Freut sich Männer, it's all right. So rejoice men, it's all right. You already waited for a long time that your women can vote. It's a bit, yeah, it needs to be taken with a grain of salt. Ich bin a größer Damenfreund. Ich schwör euch bei mein Leben. Ich dank alle Männer heint, was haben sie gegeben. Gleicher Recht zu voten fein. Fein for every woman. Der Reiz zu voten, zu Recht zu sein. Die Zeit ist schon gekommen. Als alle Weiber müssen stimmen. Bei jeder Election, was wird kommen. A Congressman, a Präsident, liegt bei Weiber in die Hände. Freu verkauft Wort nicht vor mit Simmen. Freut sich Männer, sie soll reit, gewartet hat ihr a lange Zeit, als ihre Weiber mögen stimmen. A Captain wird sein Ruchele und Hansche wird sein der Meier. Jenny wird sein a Diplomat und Jente a Goldwyn Mayer. Weiber haben jeden Job, wo's geben Information. Sie wollen für uns horven, für unser Liberation. Als alle Weiber müssen stimmen, bei jeder Election, was wird kommen. A Congressman, a Präsident, liegt bei Weiber in die Hände. Freu verkauft Wort nicht vor Simmen. Freut sich Männer, sie soll reit, gewartet hat ihr a lange Zeit, als ihre Weiber müssen stimmen. And now 100 years have passed, and see where it has brought us. Women in boards and companies, in parliaments and startups. But what have all these women done for care workers and migrants? It's time to change our strategy and join to fight all tyrants. Als alle Weiber müssen stimmen, bei jeder Election, was wird kommen. A Congressman, a Präsident, liegt bei Weiber in die Hände. A Freu verkauft Wort nicht vor Simmen. Freut sich Männer, sie soll reit, gewartet hat ihr a lange Zeit, als ihre Weiber müssen stimmen. Weil alle Weiber müssen stimmen, bei jeder Election, was wird kommen. A Congressman, a Präsident, liegt bei Weiber in die Hände. A Freu verkauft Wort nicht vor Simmen. Freut sich Männer, sie soll reit, gewartet hat ihr a lange Zeit, als ihre Weiber mögen stimmen. Thank you all. So, take a quick check on the time. I think I want to definitely, yeah, I'm going to spontaneously sing a song that I didn't think of singing, but I definitely want to sing it. It's also, I think, one of my favorite kind of revolutionary songs. It's based on a poem by Maurice Rosenfeld, who was the poet, known as the sweatshop poet. He wrote a lot of poems about sweatshops on specifically also the Lower East Side and the condition of Yiddish workers there. And it's a song that was also heavily politicized because it was used in the commemorations of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory Fire, which happened in, I think, 1913. I think people can correct me in the chat if that's the wrong year. I think it was 1913 or 1911. 1911 maybe. Someone in the chat knows better, I think. And these commemorations were also very politicized because this was one of the only sweatshops that wasn't unionized, and so unions were really mobilizing, and this song was used in the commemorations. So don't search for me where the myrtles bloom, you won't find me there. Where life withers through machines, that's my resting place, basically. Mein Ruheplatz, it's called, 1911. Thank you. Yeah, I was just thinking it was recently the anniversary. Okay, last Friday. Thank you, Noel. Nit such mich wo die Myrten grünen, gefindst mich dort nicht, mein Schatz. Wo Lebenswelten bei Maschinen, dort ist mein Ruheplatz. Dort ist mein Ruheplatz. Nicht such mich wo die Vögel singen, gefindst mich dort nicht, mein Schatz. A Sklav bin ich, wo Ketten klingen, dort ist mein Ruheplatz, dort ist mein Ruheplatz. Nicht such mich wo Fontanen spritzen, gefindst mich dort nicht, mein Schatz. Wo Tränen rinnen, Zähne kritzen, dort ist mein Ruheplatz, dort ist mein Ruheplatz. Und liebst du mich mit wahrer Liebe, so komm zu mir, mein guter Schatz, und heiter auf mein Herz das Triebe, und mach mir süß mein Ruheplatz, mach mir süß mein Ruheplatz. Oops. So just a quick look on, yeah. Thank you all. It's very nice to read your messages. So I want to sing a song that is, the next song is a kind of mix between old and new. I think what I love so much about basically when I started singing Yiddish songs, I was mostly searching kind of for these old worker songs and old revolutionary songs, but it was only when I encountered also the global Yiddishist community and all these Yiddish singers around the world and Yiddish songwriters who are doing this amazing work of continuing this tradition and continuing the revolutionary song tradition, but also just different Yiddish folk song styles, and it's been a great inspiration. And so a lot of new songs being written or old songs being set new, or and this is a good example, I think, of kind of a trans-historical collaboration. So it's a very old tune It's a Dobry Den collected in Eastern Europe by Moshe Beregovsky, who was a very important Soviet ethnomusicologist who collected a lot of melodies that today kind of make up the bulk of a lot of the what we call klezmer, and and to this traditional melody, the contemporary composer, songwriter, filmmaker, singer Josh Waletsky, who is a dear friend and mentor, and has created amazing works. And he's also a wonderful Yiddish poet, and he wrote a beautiful text to this melody, and also wrote a little nigun at the end of it. So that's also his music. So it's kind of a mix. It's on Michael Winograd's album, for who wants to hear it. It's called Wer wird sehen Sholem, or just Wer, or on his album it's called Who. So who will sow peace? And it asks the question, who will sow peace on this earth, and who will bring together the lion and the lamb? So it mixes kind of imagery, and I think it's kind of, especially in these days when I live in Vienna and it's very close to Ukraine, like it's 4 hours from the Ukrainian border where there's this terrible war. And I've been thinking a lot about what it means to call for peace. And I think the past year has shown us that it's not enough to call for peace. It's actually, it costs something. Peace costs something. And sometimes it costs people's lives, and we need to support Ukrainians fighting against fascism, basically, and this is what it costs, and this is our responsibility. So I think this song is a lot about this question of responsibility. Important words to know: ich, me, I, du is you, and mir is we. I think that's all I will translate for now. Wer wird sehen Scholem in der eingebackener Erd? Wer wird schmieden Ackereisens von dem heldischen Schwert? Wer besorgen wird mit Wasser, als nicht auch kein Tropentoi? Wer wird euch sitten die Twoe mit a Geule mohi streu? Und wer wird schatten in dem Schiddach zwischen Leb und Lamm? Und reinigen von Wunden dem eure dicken Saum. Jedens und vergangen noch weit von Schneidgesang. Wer sich losen in dem Weg von Scholem, aheim, aheim, aheim. Du wirst sehen Scholem in der eingebackener Erd. Ich will schmieden Ackereisens von dem heldischen Schwert. Der Schochen wird gefinnen Wasser, chotsch nicht auch kein Tropentoi. Der Säune toi sitten die Twoe mit a Geule mohi streu. Und wer wird schatten in den Schiddach zwischen Leib und Lamm? Und reinigen von Wunden dem eure dicken Saum. Jeden Sund vergangen noch weit von Schneidgesang mir und sich losen in dem Weg von Scholem, aheim, 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 yaridai, yaridai, jeden Sund vergangen noch weit von Schneidgesang mir und sich losen in dem Weg von Scholem, aheim, 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 yaridai, yaridai, der Gang noch weit von Schneidgesang mir sich losen in dem Weg von Scholem aheim, aheim, aheim. Okay, yes, there's a reminder. We'll do a short Q&A at the end. So actually I'll come to my last song now, so we have maybe a few minutes for some questions if anyone has some, because I would also be happy to get a bit of a sense from the online audience that I only can see through the chat. I want to end with another song that I have on the list of the Lilith list. I've been singing a lot of kind of my very basic, like the repertoire that I started out with and that I've been singing for a long time. A lot of these songs are on my first album, Millenial Bundist, which was basically a documentation of this whole me getting into singing Yiddish. It's not a curated album in this sense. It's more of a documentation of my process of singing Yiddish at protests and in concert, and kind of understanding the connections between politics, contemporary politics, and Yiddish songs. I also have a second album out that I released last November with my colleague Esther Vrachko, and she's actually going to be visiting me in the US this week, or this weekend, and we're playing a show this Sunday in Boston, and next week, the week after that, in New York City at the Jalopy Theater in Brooklyn. So I'll still plug those exactly those dates. Where we're called Soveles. We do kind of it's Yiddish for small owls. We do these arrangements, harmony arrangements, two-part harmony, very intimate, of kind of Yiddish folk songs with a lot of women themed. That's basically what I wanted to plug for now. Quickly, I want to thank also the Orchestral College Network for inviting me. I'm going to sing one last song. It's called Still die Nacht ist ausgesternt. It's a very important resistance song written by Hirsch Glick, who was a poet from the Vilna ghetto. He was killed by the Nazis in 1944. He didn't survive, but he sings this song. The song is about another partisan, a woman named Witka Kempner, who was just 21 years old when she partook in an action where she threw a grenade on train tracks and kind of bombed these train tracks that blocked a weapons delivery from the Nazis. And this is what this song is about. And I'd love to end with it because it ends with this line, which I think is very important to hear as an activist. It's empowered from the small successes for a new and free generation. And I think that's so true. I mean, I don't really want to say more about that. Still die Nacht ist ausgesternt. Still die Nacht ist ausgesternt und der Frost hat stark gebrannt. Sie gedenkst du, wie ich hab dich gelernt, alten Aspeier in die Hand. Am Mond, a Pelzel und a Beret und halt in Hand fest an a Gang. Amoit mit a sammetenem Pony, hit op dem Säunes Karawan. Amoit mit a sammetenem Pony, hit op dem Säunes Karawan. Gezielt, geschossen und getroffen, hat kleiniger Pistol an Euto auf Fullenken verhalten hat sie mit den Keul, erneut auf Funken mit Waffen, verhalten hat sie mit den Keul, vertog von Walderreus gekrochen, mit Schneegirlanden auf die Haar, gemutigt von kleinen Nitzochen, vor unseren neuen freien Dar, gemutigt von kleinen Nitzochen, vor unseren neuen freien Dar. Okay. Here I'm gonna close the concert, and yeah, I will be answering some questions. I'll put away the guitar. Great. Thank you so much for being here and for listening attentively also online. So should I just answer them? I don't know, how does it work? Maybe.
Thank you so much, Isabel, for singing for us tonight. You sounded beautiful, amazing, and we really, really enjoyed it. I see a couple questions in the chat. Let's see. So Cheryl asked, where can we listen to this song? I don't know what song Cheryl was talking about in particular, but let's just say, where can we listen to all of the songs that you sung tonight?
Yeah, I mean, not all of them are recorded. I mean, for example, my setting of that poem, I'm gonna record in June. So yeah, to keep an eye out. There's gonna be probably like an album with the trio that I'm playing with. Then I have the other two albums, but I think this was after Wer wird sein Scholem, which I said it's the recording on Michael Winograd's CD. So I'm just gonna write it in the chat. The song is called Who, and on the CD, but it's Wer wird sein Scholem. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Let's see. Rafi asked, do you have any favorite English language protest singers?
Oof. Yeah, I mean, I see Guthrie. Guthrie is definitely on the list, but I mean, I didn't grow up so much with the kind of these English language protest singers. I think my top favorite ones are Pete Seeger, him I did hear, and Joanne Baez, who I really love, and I think also her version of Donna Donna. I mean, I heard it first in Yiddish and then her version, and I learned her arrangement on guitar. I basically just kind of copied her guitar arrangement, and I've been playing it with the Yiddish text since I started performing Yiddish songs, and she's a great inspiration. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I'll have to give her a listen. Let's see. Noelle asked, Isabel, would you be willing to tell us about some of the protests where you've sung recently? What were they about? Where were they held? And were you singing solo, or were the protesters singing along?
Oof, let me think. I mean, I've been here now, and here I haven't sung at a protest. I'm thinking about what happened in Vienna lastly. I mean, it was like, I think probably the last protest that I played at was it was a winter kind of a camp, a tent camp that was set up as like a refugee solidarity protest, because there are a lot of refugee camps on the borders of Europe, what we call Fortress Europe, and people living in terrible conditions, and it was a kind of camp out to protest these conditions, and I played some songs there. No, and there I was singing solo. I mean, there are some situations where people sing along. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it kind of like it was also the high point was right before the pandemic, and then after the pandemic, I also did some political campaigning for this kind of left wing and like communist local party in Vienna, and I performed a lot there. And there, people did sing along because they at some point knew the songs. I was on like a campaign tour singing songs. Yeah.
Thank you. Let's see. Rochelle wants to know, do you speak Yiddish and how did you learn?
Mm. I do speak Yiddish. I feel like I can say that now. I'm still learning. I still take as many classes as I can take, and there's still many things that I don't know, and some mistakes that I make, and especially the Loshen Kodesh sticker words, so the words from like Hebrew and Aramaic origin, I have some issues with. I didn't grow up with any kind of religious education, but also don't really speak Hebrew very well. So a lot of there I have to learn a lot. I mean, I started a lot on my own, and then I realized that doesn't really bring me, that brings me more to kind of gibberish Yiddish. And then I just started taking different classes. I started in Vienna, then I did a 1 week course in Trier in Germany. Then I did classes in Weimar at Yiddish Summer Weimar. Then I did a Yiddish summer program also. I mean, there's so many Yiddish summer programs. Now I'm doing like a semester class. Oh wow. Yeah, so the conversation with Sandy Fox on Weiberteich, I was still in the that was right after the Yiddish summer program. I feel like now I can even speak more fluently. I made some mistakes there, but it's always, yeah, I think with Yiddish it's always it's a lifelong learning. Yeah.
Thank you. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us tonight, and we're so glad you joined this program. Thank you everyone who joined the program with us, and we'll just want to give another shout out and thank you to our co-sponsors, Lilith Magazine, New Voices Magazine, and the Yiddish Book Center.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Isabel. Thank you, co-sponsors, and thank you, everyone. Tomorrow, you'll receive a follow-up email, and it'll be chock full of great information about where you can learn more about Isabel's music and concert appearances. It'll also have some opportunities for you to take action together with the Workers' Circle to strengthen our democracy and fight fascism. And we'll give you some more information about the Workers' Circle College Network and the new Yiddish song collection as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No, but just before we go, really quickly about the College Network. If anyone in the audience is under 30 or knows anyone under 30, please sign or share our Gen Z for Democracy petition. We're calling on Congress to pass critical federal legislation to fix our broken democracy and ensure everyone has the freedom to vote, and you do not have to be under 30 to share. So please share. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
And whether you're Gen Z or 93, know that there's a place for you right here in this movement. And boy, do we need you, because our democracy can't wait. Isabel, you so beautifully described all of the sites and opportunities for us to strengthen democracy and to stand against the worst. We know that we are the ones who must defy and defeat fascism once again, that we're the ones who will use the beauty of our cultures, the strength of our histories, the determination of our collective action to build the America we must become and to strengthen democracy in every place on every shore. On behalf of the Worker Circle, thank you so much, Isabel. Thank you, co-sponsors, and thank you everyone for being with us. We'll see you on the front lines. Good night.
Thank you so much. Thank you.